Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a closer look at something serious that's happening in the region of Crimea, something that's getting far less attention than it should. On September 22, 2025, Russian appointed officials reported that a drone strike attributed to the Ukrainian forces hit a resort area of Crimea, killing 3 civilians and injuring 16. Arab News One. What strikes me is not only the immediacy of the human cost, but the wider implications for the conflict, the civilian dimensions, and what this means for the future of the peninsula. Let's unpack what we know. According to reports, at about 19:30 Moscow time, drones loaded with high-explosive payloads flew into a resort town in Crimea where, officials say, there were no legitimate military targets. A school was reportedly damaged and falling debris sparked a fire. Arab News One. For the Kremlin appointed governor of Crimea, Sergei Aksyonov, it was clearly framed as a terrorist strike by Ukraine. Arab News PK2. On the surface, then this is a tragic incident of loss of civilian life. But beneath that surface, there are deeper questions we should ask. First, why now and why there ***. Crimea has been under Russian occupation since 2014, and the peninsula has served as a major strategic hub for Russia's Black Sea Fleet and a staging area for the war in Ukraine. Ukraine has long indicated that it sees Crimea as territory that must be reclaimed, and strikes in Crimea, whether in ports, near bases, or on the bridge linking Crimea to Russia, are part of a broader strategy. Al Jazeera 3. When a resort area becomes the target, however, the calculus changes. It raises questions about the boundaries between military and civilian spaces, about potential escalation, and about Russia's ability to protect even supposedly safe zones. Second, ***, civilian risk and the shifting front lines ***. A resort town is typically thought of as peaceful, a space of holiday, of escape. That in itself sends a signal, either that Ukraine or some actor is willing to accept higher civilian risk, or that the occupation forces have less control over their own territory than they want us to believe. Russia's framing emphasizes it was a resort area where there are absolutely no military targets whatsoever. Arab News PK4. That narrative matters for how the world sees this incident, in terms of war law, in terms of human rights, in terms of what is permissible in conflict. Third, ***, why so little attention? It seems that while big headline strikes like the much-reported attack on the bridge linking Russia to Crimea get global coverage, incidents like this slip below the radar. Yet they may matter more for the long-term human and political impact. When civilians in supposedly non-combat zones are killed or injured, when schools are damaged, it challenges assumptions about what is safe and what is occupied. Some of that may reflect media fatigue. This war has been going on for years now, but some may reflect the complexity of verifying claims in Crimea, where access is limited and where all sides have incentives to spin the narrative. Fourth, ***, what might this presage? If resort towns are no longer off limits, then the map of vulnerability changes. For Russia, it may signal difficulty protecting its territory. For Ukraine, it may signal a shift to greater depth of strike. For civilians, it may mean that zones previously thought safe are increasingly contested. And for the international community, it raises questions about how to monitor occupation zones, how to protect civilians, and how to respond to incidents where attribution and motive may be contested. So, what should we keep an eye on going forward? We'll watch for verification, how independent reports corroborate the incident, what the civilian casualty count truly is, how Russia responds in terms of defense posture and public messaging. We'll also watch for follow-on strikes, whether this becomes a pattern of more frequent attacks in soft, targets in Crimea, and we'll monitor diplomatic fallout. Whether this incident shifts conversations about the occupied territories of Ukraine, sanctions, and how the West engages with the conflict's changing geography. In concluding, this event may look like a small headline in the giant shadow of a full-scale war, but it carries weight. Civilian lives lost in a resort town, a school damaged, the message that nowhere may be truly safe. All these resonate far beyond the moment. It challenges the narrative that the war is only in the east, or that Crimea is secure or tourist zone. For the people on the ground, it likely changes how they live, how they think about safety, and how vulnerable the occupation regime truly is. Thank you for staying with me through this detailed breakdown. If you found this helpful, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future deep dives like this. I'll be keeping an eye on developments in Crimea and the wider war, so stay tuned for updates.